With their third Broadway musical collaboration, The Prom, earning raves, the songwriting team of Matthew Sklar and Chad Beguelin are enjoying a high point in a long partnership. You guys have been working together for a very long time. It really adds up, doesn't it?
Over 25 years now.
And still getting along.
I think we've fought maybe twice
over
25 years, and by fighting I mean I get really quiet and he says, "What's wrong?"
How does it feel right now to have The Prom on Broadway, an original musical? And I feel like people are really embracing it.
It's funny because the first song in the show is Changing Lives, and it's, you know, these ridiculously diva, you know, nightmare performers talking about how they're changing lives, but it's strange now to get messages from people that, you know, this really made me feel okay with myself, or it made me look at this issue differently, and it's really affecting people.
A joyful show that is both a brassy throwback to classic musical comedies and a contemporary take on hot topics, The Prom has captured audiences with a touching story about a lesbian teen struggling to fit in at her Indiana school and the over-the-top Broadway stars who try to help her. For Beguelin and Sklar, working on the show has brought them back to their own high school years.
I grew up in a really small town in southern Illinois. I sort of would live to get cast albums or see shows, and then I would spend hours, because I was, you know, had no friends, just in my room lip-syncing my face off, and I can do a really good Ava Perón death scene.
Oh,
I have a final broadcast that will make you cry.
And I used to listen to the 9 cast album over and over again and pretend conduct the finale. I would always, you know, sit in my room and just get lost in that music.
What about dating? I know you're very different in terms of what you like, dating-wise. For you, Chad, when you look at Emma's story, how do you relate to that or not relate to it?
It was such a different time when I was, you know, in high school, and there was no way, no one was out.
Right.
And I don't even know that I allowed myself to know that I was gay. I think my head would have just exploded if this musical would have come out when I was in high school.
Note to self, don't be gay in Indiana. Big heads up, that's a really stupid plan.
Two different kids with the same Broadway dreams, Sklar and Beguelin were introduced during college by Andrew Barrett, the literary manager of the now-defunct, not-for-profit musical theater works.
If you're not straight, then guess what's bound to hit the fan?
We met at
the Astor Riviera Diner, which is now a Starbucks, right near the Public Theater on Astor and Lafayette.
So you had a blind date at the diner?
Pretty much,
yes.
at the diner.
Yeah.
And we just hit it off, and what was interesting also is that Andrew actually had a slot for a reading. So he said, "Do you guys think you can come up with something in a few months?" And I didn't know how long it took to write a musical, so we just wrote a full draft of a musical.
We were like, okay,
in 3 months. Yeah, we're like, okay.
It was based on Morris by M. Forrester, and we were so green that we just assumed it was public domain.
After learning their Morris musical was a no-go, the budding songwriters went back to the drawing board.
We did a musical, sort of a campy musical noir set in the 40s about Oedipus. It was so much fun, and we learned so much. We also learned that there's not a big demand for musicals about banging your mom. So that was, you know, that was the learning point too.
And then we fell in love with writing kind of jazzy theater songs. So that's when Chad found the idea for Rhythm Club, which we started in, you know, '96 or something like that.
Yeah.
Rhythm Club. I went to a press event for the Rhythm Club.
Yes, you did.
That's when I first met you. Get as close together.
Closer,
Bright
closer,
light.
closer.
You like each other. We're close together.
Should I stand on my toes?
And that was coming to Broadway.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, we had
The Heartbreak.
An ambitious musical about the underground swing scene during the rise of Hitler in Nazi Germany, the Rhythm Club premiered at the Signature Theater in Virginia in September 2000, with plans to land on Broadway the following spring. When financing fell through, the show was off.
It was very heartbreaking. I had a tough time going to the theater district for like a year.
I remember having a really serious heart because we were devastated.
Yeah, we were pretty devastated.
And I was like, look, this could be it. Like, I'll go off, I'll get a PhD, I'll teach, you can become a conductor, or we just gotta double down and we just gotta go for it. And we just decided right then, okay, we're gonna, if I have to, like, you know, bartend for the rest of my life and still write musicals, that's the deal. Yeah. They get a little choked up.
Beguelin and Sklar caught the eye of some powerful new friends. Hairspray producer Margot Lyon and Mark Kaufman, head of New Line Cinema. who were collaborating on a musical version of The Wedding Singer. They jumped on board and made their Broadway debut with the show, which had a modest run but earned them their first Tony nomination for Best Score. Another New Line project followed, Elf, which has had 2 holiday runs on Broadway and is now produced internationally. Without Sklar, Beguelin partnered with Alan Menken for Disney's Aladdin, a big Broadway success that is about to celebrate its 5th anniversary. Do you have like insane jealousy for his Aladdin money? Or?
No, well listen, who wouldn't? But the truth is, you know, I was so happy when you got that gig. And I know that you worked so hard on that show.
Aladdin was incredibly difficult. We, got creamed out of town. We had to throw everything out almost. And so it was great to come back to Prom and to Matt and be like, oh my God. There's no, on the one hand, there's no brand, so you have to educate people what the show is about, but on the other hand, there's no huge crushing expectations. So it was such a joy to sort of come to Prom and be like, we can do whatever we want.
And then you happened and turned my life around entirely. Oh baby, you happened and look what happened to me.
Their only Broadway musical, not based on a film, The Prom is an exciting first for the duo.
The person that will go see Aladdin, might not have ever seen a musical, but it's Aladdin, so they'll go. And they might go, oh, this is what theater is. Oh, maybe I'll go see The Prom. So I think in a way it's good that they coexist together. And I'm not just saying that because Aladdin paid for all of this plastic surgery.
I was gonna say, it looks great.
Thanks. The new nose is like, oh.
So it's gonna keep going. Like, we're gonna sit down when you're like in your 60s and 70s. And
I should hope so.
Yes, let's hope so.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Okay. I'll look exactly the same.
Thank you, Aladdin.
I won't.
Just old.